ओके स्टूडेंट्स, हमने लास्ट क्लास में पढ़ा था कि कैसे हम केमिकल इक्वेशंस को लिखते हैं. इन दिस क्लास we are going to read about types of chemical reactions. We have learned in class 9 that during a chemical reaction, atoms of one element do not change into those of another element. Another element में कोई भी atom change नहीं होता during chemical reaction. Nor do atoms disappear, not from the mixture of or appear from elsewhere. ना ही कोई नया एटम उसमें आ जाएगा और ना ही जो एटम उसमें प्रेजेंट है वो डिसअपियर होगा या कहीं चला जाएगा. एक्चुअली केमिकल रिएक्शंस इन्वॉल्व द ब्रेकिंग एंड मेकिंग ऑफ बॉन्ड्स बिटवीन एटम्स टू प्रोड्यूस न्यू सब्सटेंसेस. एक्चुअली होता ये है कि जो उसमें एटम होते हैं वही अलग होके टूट फूट के नए बॉन्ड बना के नए सब्सटेंस प्रोड्यूस करते हैं. You will study about types of bonds formed between atoms in chapter 3 and 4. First reaction is combination reaction. यहाँ एक एक्टिविटी दी हुई है. Take a small amount of calcium oxide or quicklime in a beaker. Slowly add water to this. Touch the beaker as shown in figure 1.3. Do you feel any change in temperature? Calcium oxide reacts vigorously with water to produce slaked lime calcium hydroxide, releasing a large amount of heat. The reaction will be CaO, that is solid, plus H2O, that is liquid, CaOH twice, that is aqueous, plus heat. इस रिएक्शन में हीट रिलीज हो रही है ड्यूरिंग रिएक्शन. In this reaction, calcium oxide and water combine to form a single product. Which product? That calcium hydroxide. Such a reaction in which a single product is formed from two or more reactants is known as combination reaction. मतलब जब दो reactant मिलके एक product बनाते हैं, उनका combination होता है तो उसे कहते हैं कॉम्बिनेशन रिएक्शन. नाउ लेट अस डिस्कस सम मोर एग्जांपल्स ऑफ कॉम्बिनेशन रिएक्शन. फर्स्ट इज बर्निंग ऑफ कोल. कोल दैट इज सी प्लस ऑक्सीजन. ऑक्सीजन जो हमारे चारों तरफ प्रेजेंट होती है, जब कोल को बर्न करेंगे इन प्रेजेंस ऑफ ऑक्सीजन तो बनेगा CO2 दैट इज कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड. Second example is formation of water from H2 that is gas and oxygen. So 2H2 plus O2 makes 2H2O, a water molecule. In simple language, we can say that when two or more substances, elements or compounds combine to form a single product, the reactions are called combination reaction. जब एलिमेंट्स या कंपाउंड्स दो आपस में मिलकर एक प्रोडक्ट बनाते हैं, देन दिस रिएक्शन इज कॉल्ड कॉम्बिनेशन रिएक्शन. इन एक्टिविटी 1.4 वी ऑल्सो ऑब्जर्व्ड दैट अ लार्ज अमाउंट ऑफ हीट इज इवॉल्व्ड. दिस मेक्स द रिएक्शन मिक्सचर वार्म. रिएक्शंस इन विच हीट इज रिलीज्ड along with the formation of products are called एक्सोथर्मिक केमिकल रिएक्शन. रिएक्शन के दौरान अगर हीट रिलीज हो रही है तो ऐसे रिएक्शंस को हम कहेंगे एक्सोथर्मिक केमिकल रिएक्शंस. एक्सो मीन्स एक्साइल, बाहर की तरफ निकल रही है, यानी आफ्टर रिएक्शन वी गॉट हीट, देन दिस विल बी कॉल्ड एक्सोथर्मिक केमिकल रिएक्शन. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, बर्निंग ऑफ नेचुरल गैस. CH4 gas plus 2O2 in presence of oxygen, CO2 carbon dioxide plus 2H2O, that is water. In a steam form, do you know that respiration is an exothermic process? Yes, we all know that we need energy to stay alive. We get this energy from the food we eat. During digestion, food is broken down into simpler substances. For example, rice, potatoes and bread contains carbohydrate. These carbohydrates are broken down to form glucose. This glucose combines with oxygen in the cells of our body and provides energy. The special name of this reaction is respiration. Let's see the reaction. This is glucose. In presence of oxygen, we got CO2, H2O and energy. क्योंकि इस रिएक्शन में एनर्जी आफ्टर रिएक्शन रिलीज हो रही है, that's why we call this reaction an exothermic reaction. The decomposition of vegetable matter into compost is also an example of exothermic reaction. Identify the type of reaction taking place in activity 1.1 where heat is given out along with the formation of a single product. Second type of reaction is decomposition reaction. Activity 1.5. Take about 2 gram ferrous sulfate crystals in a dry boiling tube. Note the color of ferrous sulfate crystals. Heat the boiling tube over the flame of a burner or split lamp as shown in figure 1.4. Observe the color of the crystals after heating. Have you noticed that the green color of ferrous sulfate crystals has changed? You can also smell a characteristic odor of burning sulfur. So students, when we burn ferrous sulfate, that is 2FeSO4 solid, it converted into Fe2O3, that is ferric oxide solid material, plus SO2 and SO3. Both are gases. In this reaction, you can observe that a single reactant breaks down into 3 products, that is ferric oxide, SO2 and SO3. This is a decomposition reaction. Ferrous sulfate crystal lose water when heated and the color of the crystal changes. It then decomposes to ferric oxide, sulfur dioxide and sulfur trioxide. Ferric oxide is a solid while SO2 and SO3 are gases. Decomposition of calcium carbonate, that is CaCO3, to calcium oxide, that is CaO, and carbon dioxide, that is CO2 on heating is an important decomposition reaction used in various industries. Calcium oxide is called lime or quicklime. It has many uses. One is in the manufacture of cement. When a decomposition reaction is carried out by heating, it is called thermal decomposition. Another example of a thermal decomposition reaction is given in activity 1.6. Take about 2 gram lead nitrate powder in a boiling tube. Hold the boiling tube with a pair of tongue and heat it over a flame as shown in figure 1.5. What do you observe? Note down the change if any. You will observe the emission of brown fumes. These fumes are of nitrogen dioxide. The reaction that takes place is lead nitrate converted into lead oxide plus nitrogen dioxide plus oxygen. Let us perform some more decomposition reactions as given in activity 1.7 and 1.8. So students, there are many examples to explain the type of decomposition reaction. In simple words, decomposition reactions are those reactions in which one substance broken down in more than one products. So here is many activities to explain this decomposition reaction. Okay students, now we will discuss another reaction, that is displacement reaction. Displacement means किसी को अपनी जगह से डिस्प्लेस कर देना, हटा देना, या उसकी जगह पर हटा के खुद कोई दूसरा एटम लग जाए. That will be called displacement. Okay. Activity 1.9. Take 3 iron nails and clean them by rubbing with sandpaper. Take 2 test tubes marked as A and B. In each test tube, take about 10 ml copper sulfate solution. Tie 2 iron nails with a thread and immerse them carefully in the copper sulfate solution in test tube B for about 20 minutes. Keep 1 iron nail aside for comparison. After 20 minutes, take out the iron nails from the copper sulfate solution. Compare the intensity of the blue color of copper sulfate solutions in test tubes A and B. Also compare the color of the iron nails dipped in the copper sulfate solution with the one kept aside, like we can see in the picture. Now, when we compare both nails, we can see what we can see. Why does the iron nail become brownish in color and the blue color of copper sulfate solution fades? The following chemical reaction takes place in this activity. Fe plus copper sulfate, that is CuSO4, converted into iron sulfate, FeSO4 plus Cu, copper. In this reaction, iron has displaced or removed another element, copper, from copper sulfate solution. We can see that iron replaced this copper and made iron sulfate from copper sulfate solution. This reaction is known as displacement reaction. Other examples of displacement reactions are Zn plus CuSO4. Zn replaces Cu and form zinc sulfate plus Cu. Pb, that is lead, replaced copper and made lead chloride, PbCl3 plus copper. Zinc and lead are more reactive elements than copper. They replace copper from its compounds. Okay. Double displacement reaction. We will discuss double displacement. Let's see the activity. Take about 3 ml of sodium sulfate solution in a test tube. In another test tube, take about 3 ml of barium chloride solution. Mix the two solutions. What do you observe? You will observe that a white substance which is insoluble in water is formed. This insoluble substance formed is known as a precipitate. Any reaction that produces a precipitate can be called a precipitation reaction. Now the reaction is sodium sulfate, which is Na2SO4 plus barium chloride, BaCl2, made BaSO4, barium sulfate. Here we can see sodium replaced by barium, and other product is 2NaCl sodium chloride. Sodium and chloride. We can see sodium replaced by barium and barium attached at the place of sodium. This is called double displacement reaction. What causes this? The white precipitate of barium sulfate is formed by the reaction of sulfate and barium. The other product formed is sodium chloride, which remains in a solution. Such reactions in which there is an exchange of ions between the reactants are called double displacement reactions. Now, we study about oxidation and reduction. Activity 1.11. Heat a china dish containing about 1 gram copper powder. What do you observe? The surface of copper powder becomes coated with black copper oxide. Why has this black substance formed? This is because oxygen is added to copper and copper oxide is formed. 2Cu plus oxygen, heat, 2CuO, that is copper oxide. If hydrogen gas is passed over the heated material, that is CuO, copper oxide, the black coating on the surface turns brown as a reverse reaction takes place and copper is obtained. When copper oxide heated in presence of hydrogen, copper and water separated. If a substance gains oxygen during a reaction, it is said to be oxidized. If a substance loses oxygen during a reaction, it is said to be reduced. During this reaction, the copper oxide is losing oxygen. Here we can see copper oxide. When copper oxide losing oxygen, oxygen combined with hydrogen and made water molecule. So, the hydrogen is gaining oxygen and is being oxidized. In other words, one reactant gets oxidized while the other gets reduced during a reaction. Such reactions are called oxidation reduction reactions or redox reactions. We can see copper oxide and water. Here copper has oxygen and other side hydrogen has oxygen. So here जब कॉपर से ऑक्सीजन अलग होगा तो कॉपर ऑक्सीजन लूज कर रहा है, इसलिए ये होगा रिडक्शन एंड hydrogen gain oxygen. So we can say this reaction is oxidation. Okay, और oxidation और reduction एक ही reaction में हो रहा है, so we can call this reaction redox reaction. Other examples are ZnO plus carbon, Zn plus CO. Here zinc loses oxygen and carbon gain oxygen. Now, in reaction 1.31, carbon is oxidized to CO and ZnO is reduced to Zn. In reaction 1.32, HCl is oxidized to Cl2, whereas MnO2 is reduced to MnCl2. From the above examples, we can say that if a substance gains oxygen or loses hydrogen during a reaction, it is oxidized. या हमें ऑक्सीजन मिल रहा होगा या हम हाइड्रोजन लॉस करेंगे, दोनों ही कंडीशन में ये कहलाएगा ऑक्सीडाइज्ड. एंड इफ अ सब्सटेंस लॉसेस ऑक्सीजन एंड गेन हाइड्रोजन ड्यूरिंग अ रिएक्शन, इट इज रिड्यूस्ड. अगर वो सब्सटेंस ऑक्सीजन लॉस कर रहा है या हाइड्रोजन गेन कर रहा है तो उसे बोलेंगे रिड्यूस्ड. Come to the next topic. Have you observed the effects of oxidation reactions in everyday life? Let's see. Corrosion. You must have observed that iron articles are shiny when new, but get coated with a reddish brown powder when left for some time. This process is commonly known as rusting of iron. Some other metals also get tarnished in this manner. Have you noticed the color of the coating formed on copper and silver? When a metal is attacked by substances around it, such as moisture, acids, etc., it is said to corrode, and this process is called corrosion. The black coating on silver and green coating on copper are other examples of corrosion. Corrosion causes damage to car bodies, bridges, iron railings, ships, and to all objects made to metal, especially those of iron. Corrosions of iron is a serious problem. Every year, an enormous amount of money is spent to replace damaged iron. You will learn more about corrosion in chapter 3. So, in simple words, corrosion is rusting of iron as well as coating of black color and green color on silver and copper respectively. जब हम सिल्वर, कॉपर या आयरन को ह्यूमिड एटमॉस्फेयर में छोड़ देते हैं, वो रिएक्शन करके उनके ऊपर एक कोटिंग सी बन जाती है ब्राउन या ग्रीन कलर की, उसे हम बोलते हैं कोरोजन. नाउ, rancidity. Have you ever tasted or smelled the fat oil containing food materials left for a long time? When fats and oils are oxidized, they become rancid and their smell and taste change. Usually substances which prevent oxidation, antioxidants, are added to food containing fats and oil. Keeping food in airtight containers help to slow down oxidation. Do you know that chips manufacturers usually flush bags or chips with gas such as nitrogen to prevent the chips from getting oxidized? फूड यूजुअली हम देखते हैं अगर छोड़ दिए जाएं कुछ से अजीब सी स्मेल आने लगती है, उनके टेस्ट चेंज हो जाते हैं, लेकिन जो हम पैकेज फूड लाते हैं वो खराब नहीं होते क्योंकि मैन्युफैक्चरर उसमें यूज करते हैं एंटीऑक्सीडेंट्स का. पैकेज फूड्स में अंदर आपने चिप्स में देखा होगा या कुछ ऐसे नमकीन पैकेज फूड जो बहुत फूले होते हैं, उनके अंदर कौन सी गैस होती है? वो होती है नाइट्रोजन. किस लिए? प्रिवेंट करने के लिए उन्हें जल्दी ऑक्सीडाइज होने से. So students, what we have learned in this lesson? A complete chemical equation represents the reactants, products and their physical states symbolically. A chemical equation is balanced so that the number of atoms of each type involved in a chemical reaction are the same on the reactant and product sides of the equation. Equations must always be balanced. In a combination reaction, two or more substances combine to form a new single substance. That is combination reaction. Decomposition reactions are opposite to combination reaction. In a decomposition reaction, a single substance decomposes to give two or more substances. Reactions in which heat is given out along with the products are called exothermic reactions. Reactions in which energy is observed are known as endothermic reactions. अगर एनर्जी निकल रही है that will be called exothermic और एनर्जी यूज हो रही है that will be called endothermic reactions. When an element displaces another element from its compound, a displacement reaction occurs. Two different atoms or groups of atoms, ions are exchanged in a double displacement reaction. अगर एक एलिमेंट ने दूसरे कंपाउंड से एक एलिमेंट को हटाकर खुद जुड़ गया है that will be called displacement. और जब यही दो एटम के साथ होता है तो this will be called double displacement reactions. Precipitation reactions produce insoluble salts. Reactions also involve the gain or loss of oxygen or hydrogen by substances. Oxidation is gain of oxygen or loss of hydrogen. Reduction is loss of oxygen and gain of hydrogen. Okay students,